We can switch off depression in seconds by moving energy up through the polyvagal nerve. Now we know the polyvagal nerve goes from our neck down to our belly and has this huge net of nerves that covers our diaphragm and our belly. There are more serotonin receptors in that net than in our brain. And depression is energetically stored in the belly, not up here. When people come to me and we look energetically at where they're activated, it's always in the belly. And this is the lower belly, below the belly button. So a lot of practitioners and doctors have siloed energy systems and energy therapy as a separate thing that they don't get involved in, they don't learn about, they don't know anything about it. And what we need to understand is that the energy system is not separate. It is a very viable working part of our human condition that integrates with our biology and our physical being. And the mystique of energy systems is that you can't see them. I can't operate on myself and look at a chakra. Our energy meridians follow our nervous system, and yet we don't see them. And so, because you can't see and hold it in your hand, the science community dismisses it as if it doesn't exist or it's not important, it has no value. And actually, what I'm watching happen before my eyes is a person with depression switching off their depression in seconds and programming that, conditioning that by repeating the same exercise that got him out of depression, a Chi Qong or a yogic breathing exercise. By doing that simply 3 times a day, the person is now conditioning his brain and body to not go to dorsal vagal. If we don't go to dorsal vagal energetically, we don't experience depression. Why is that? Because emotions are energy. And emotions are energy when we embody them. So as a thought, they're not energy. Once we get into the body, they take on an energetic form, and they are metabolized by the different chakras. We have chakras throughout our body. These chakras metabolize our emotions. When I do EMDR, and I'm a causal therapist using EMDR and hypnotherapy, and I give people buzzers that they hold in their hands because there are energy meridians in their hands. And then these buzzers buzz bilaterally, and we're not just rocking the left and right hemisphere of our brain to put that amygdala to sleep so we can do work, but we are activating energy meridians in my arms, in our arms, and throughout our body, and exciting that energy system so that we can start moving energy through the chakras and metabolize the emotions that we're processing. And the emotions go up and down the person's chakra system as they process, because we go through different emotional states as we process. We may start out feeling fear and helpless. We may go to our heart chakra and feel hurt and unloved. And then we may feel angry and go to our solar plexus. But then after we release anger, we may feel sadness and come back to our chest. We may have our throat close up because we weren't allowed to fight back and speak. But that gets released. And then we go to a different chakra and we go up and down the chakra system, metabolizing traumatic memory. I believe causal memories are responsible for depression. Shame turned inward manifests into a depressed state. Depression is a shutdown response And shutting down might be the indicated response for the situation that was going on. Or we might have been overwhelmed, and that's the reason we go down to dorsal vagal, is because we are overwhelmed. We don't have any other viable options, such as fighting or fleeing. So I find that if we ask someone, why are you depressed? They have a great reason to tell me, and lots of story to process. So I believe there are causal reasons for depression. I have yet to work with someone with depression who we haven't released their depression. Hasn't happened, and I'm working causally. But now I'm taking a coping skill that I use, a Chi Qong exercise, a very powerful Chi Qong exercise. And when the person does this Chi Qong exercise, which is targeting the dorsal vagal and blasting the energy into their throat chakra or ventral vagal, we see immediate relief of their depression. Their depression no longer manifests, and this lasts for several hours. So, if that person were to move depression energy out of dorsal vagal for several hours, first thing in the morning, and then repeat it before lunch, and then repeat it again before dinner, there is no time for that energy to manifest in dorsal vagal. It's not being allowed to settle there. The body and brain are learning that's futile. Going there is futile. There's no point in even going there. So this is a conditioned idea that we're now repatterning and unconditioning. So I asked this person to repeat this, or yogic breathing, which is fire breathing, and you can Google yoga fire breathing and learn how to do this, but I'm putting together a video that will put these two methods together on my website, and you'll see the link down below for that. And on the video tabs on my website, there will be a video with these exercises on it, both. So I have this person doing either of those 3 times a day, and what I noticed that after a few weeks, well, I noticed after 1 week he comes in and he's no longer depressed anymore. And I noticed that if people continue to do this for several weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, that they start to learn how not to go to dorsal automatically. That it becomes a conditioned response. And so we can switch off depression and condition that without even tackling the causal reasons why they're depressed. Now, I personally don't think that's ethical. I'm going to take care of their history because I have the tools to do that with, and I just don't feel comfortable not doing that. I feel it's unethical to not do that. However, reality is, what I'm witnessing is that we can condition depression away by simply moving energy out of the dorsal vagal, working with our energy system and the physicality of the dorsal vagal, understanding the integration of those two working together, and understanding how by moving energy we can actually change the activation in our polyvagal in seconds, instantly, practically instantly. And then take the long duration of that and simply use that to change our automatic program where we've conditioned that response. So we're just doing simple behavioral conditioning with our body's energy network and watching permanent change take place without drugs, without medicine, without invasive techniques, no ketamine, no side effects, no placebo effect. This is just energy and polyvagal in the body. It's just a different paradigm that we need to start to open up to and start to understand that there's nothing to be afraid of here and there's nothing to silo away. We need to see these as one integrated network. So take a look at these charts. I will show you the illustrations for what is going on, and so that you have a better idea. And then you can visit my website for the resource of this material. Hope this is helpful to anyone who is depressed or working with people who are depressed. And the same goes for depersonalization, because it's the same dynamic, it's the same place that people are depersonalized or shut down. This is where we experience dissociation. And it's the exact same process for switching that off. And I need to switch off depersonalization if I'm going to do exposure therapy where I'm working with emotions. I need people to feel these emotions, and they can't if they're shut down. So we condition this response, and then we can go to work. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you can subscribe and come back and see my YouTube channel again and again as I keep posting new revelations as they manifest. See you soon. Here we have the body with chakra systems in place. This is our energy system. And our energy system has 8 chakras from the head down to the base of the body. Minor chakras are all over the body, and the meridian system connects all of them. This is a very simple chart of the energy system. However, it's very different than what we normally know in yogic systems, where only 7 chakras. Here there are 8 because there's an extra chakra right here. This is part of the solar plex system, which has an upper and a lower solar plex. This deals with anger and personal power. This is associated with shame. And it's these 3 chakras that are indicated. This is where the dorsal vagal is. These 3 chakras are indicated with depression. So if someone is depressed, we can see that there is an energetic activation here and nowhere else in the body, because there are so many serotonin receptors in dorsal vagal. So let's look at the polyvagal and watch at how these systems interact. And we can see that this dorsal vagal nerve actually overlaps and interacts with the polyvagal. So that if people are depressed, they are here. And this is where we need to get the energy out. If we move energy out of here to here, which is ventral vagal in the upper body, we actually become stable and clear.